Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This time I'm going to show you how to take down the Fort Condor hard mode boards. For the first one, we are using Hero Preset 2 and then Unit Preset 1, so got a 2-1 combo going. I actually did all this backwards. I did 4, 3, 2, then 1, so my strategies may be a little odd. I focused on getting the hardest board done first, so did everything backwards. All right, so the opener here, we're just going to wait a couple seconds, and then we're going to spawn an Enforcer, and then that is going to block these attack units here. And then we are going to spawn a Cleric behind the Defender. Unfortunately, I spawned it a little too close, but it worked out, but you should spawn that a little bit further back. On the left lane here, we have a defense unit coming in, and then there is going to be a Motorball defense unit spawning behind it. So again, wait for them to get close to that choke point, and then you want to spawn a Enforcer of your own, a Ranger, as well as a Cleric to keep them healed up. You basically want that defense unit to block the two units while the Ranger takes them down slowly, and then the Cleric keeps them healed up. I'm going to just sort of wait this out for a couple seconds, let these choke points get cleared. Things are mostly fine right now. There's not too much to worry about. One of those defense units just went down, and now this Motorball unit's going to go down as well. We do have a couple of range units coming in on the right side. They are going to destroy that Cleric, so I'm going to spawn an Elite Vanguard, an Elite unit, just to block everything. Unfortunately, that Flame Sweeper took out the Cleric, but one swipe from the Elite Vanguard does at least take out one of the units there, so we're okay. Back on the left side, we are going to just sort of survey things for a second, let them play out. We want some more units on the board, but we are going to start focusing up on our hero units. So we do have a few enemies in the choke point here. Unfortunately, they're all different types, so some things are going to go a little bit south, but we do have 2 attack units attacking that Condor on the right, starting to deal some opening damage to it, which is very helpful. I am going to spawn another range unit there just to try to deal some damage, but unfortunately it gets clipped right away. Luckily, it does kill that sweeper, so it does push the line of scrimmage up a little bit. But from here, I am just going to wait. One of those range units is going to die, but I want to get an Elite Vanguard out here to start to chip away, and I'm going to summon Tifa right afterward to just sort of AoE blast the rest of them down. Things were low enough to where that was going to work. This is not a counter opportunity here with this sweeper, but luckily with Tifa having haste, things do go down pretty quickly. All right, so we're going to spawn an Elite Enforcer on the left there. Unfortunately, some units did make it through on the right lane here. It's quite all right. If this Condor goes down, it's really not a big deal. I'm going to spawn Cloud since both of them, or one of them is an attacker, but that Motorball doesn't have a ton of health, and Cloud's opener, the Braver attack, is enough to get it down. So I'm deliberately waiting here, and the reason for that is because I knew that Motorball was going to die, and the units were already far enough ahead that the line of scrimmage would just push right to the boss. So that's basically the strategy for the first board. Once you're up here, just spawn as many attack units or range units as you can. You should have plenty of time left on the timer before you're done. Luckily, both Cloud and Tifa are alive. Tifa just died there, but Cloud's still alive, dealing a decent amount of damage. Unfortunately, these units just have a really long wind-up to deal damage. But other than that, I had 22 seconds left. All right, so that's the first board. The second board, things start to heat up. I also love that logo flash. It reminds me of Fight Milk from It's Always Sunny. But that's the first board. Moving on to the second board, this is the one right on this middle island here in this sort of ruin. So in case you forgot where it is, there you go. You should have all these warp points from the previous normal mode playthrough for the Phenomenon Intel. All right, my combo here for the second board is 1-1, so hero units 1, ally units 1, and then we're back with this bug enemy. You'll notice right off rip, there's a lot of units coming in on the right. However, that gives us an opportunity. This is a bit of a Zerg strategy, so we're going to spawn 2 fight units on the left there, spawn a third one in the form of a cleric just to keep them alive. You want to have those units take down that first Condor and then begin chipping away at the main base. This is a bit of a base race sort of strategy, but it's really the strategy that works because the boss nonstop spawns stuff on the right side, and then it eventually starts doing stuff on the left after the dog comes out. So what I recommend doing is spawn an Enforcer on the right just to kind of soak up some of that damage. You don't want to let yourself get overwhelmed here, but what I'm doing is I'm basically just continuously spawning units of the same type. I'm constantly dropping down Enforcement units because I want to get Cloud out here for his Bravery attack and then just clean up this whole mess really quickly. So we're waiting another second. We're going to let everything start moving over here. I'm going to drop an Elite Enforcer once I get 3. Very good. And then I'm summoning Cloud just to destroy everything or deal as much damage as I can get him to deal. And then, as you can see, those units all the way in the enemy base, those same 2 fighters from the beginning and the cleric, they're doing work on the base. They're going to get destroyed by that shield unit. It's quite all right. As long as we can take out this sweeper quickly, the line of scrimmage will not move. Unfortunately, the wolf started pushing. That's really unfortunate, but Cloud, the defense unit, and the attacker are moving into that second Condor, and then the other units are moving down the left lane. They're going to ignore Cloud's party. So now, again, we're just sort of in this base race mentality, but this is the strategy that works because of the way the opponent is setting units at the beginning. Okay, so do your best to stop the choke point here because you want to be able to spawn units eventually. So just drop a defense unit in the left lane, and then Cloud's party is still chipping away at that Condor on the right. And as you can see, it's already down, and now they're working on the base. Unfortunately, you can't spawn more units right in front of the boss, and it's just the way it goes. But we do spawn another range unit. Now we can bring Barrett out, get Focus Shot out, or Big Shot, and then the line of scrimmage moves up because we killed a few of those units. Unfortunately, a Zapdos spawns. Can't do a whole lot about that. You want to try to have range units taking care of it, but at this point, now we're under a minute, so we got to move a little bit more quickly. We're out of hero units, so now we're just kind of going to play Fort Condor, and it's going to be another Zerg strategy. So we have 2 melee, a range, and then a defense, and that Zapdos still. So what I recommend doing is spawning the Elite Enforcer, try to put him in front of the range units. Barrett is still alive, so he's still going to chip away at his counter. Luckily, he gets rid of that melee unit there. And then he's going to begin attacking the Motor Ball, get rid of him, and then he's going to move on to the Zapdos. So we have 20 seconds left. We still have a decent amount of units left to play with, so just keep spawning them as best you can. I recommend, if you have more time, get your elite units out there. The elite defenders aren't really good at this stage of the game unless you're just trying to soak up damage, but in terms of like actually killing the boss, if you're low on time, just spawn your attack units. Don't worry about the defense. You just want to get in here and kill it. And that's the second board. It's a base race strategy, but it does work. All right, for number 3, we are going to return to the Princess in Another Castle board, which is located right over here. So you can warp there as soon as you destroy it at least once. The loadout for this board is, again, 1-1, Cloud and Barrett with ally units 1. Okay, so we got to keep in mind that the boss has a huge aggro range. Any unit that is past the line in the middle is going to get attacked by the boss. Right off the bat, it spawns an archer, or a ranged unit, as well as this big gargantuan guy. I'm deliberately waiting, and then I'm going to put out an elite vanguard to stop that range enemy. And then I'm going to put a cleric behind it. Keep an eye on this unit here, and then I'm going to put a regular vanguard in front of it just to stop it. So the elite vanguard one-shots that unit on the right, and then it begins to advance to this guy. The cleric is going to keep this alive for a decent amount of time, but the base is going to start dealing damage to it along with this big dude. So we're going to have wolves spawning on both sides, followed by 2 defense units on the left. The wolves will push the units kind of out of position, but it's okay. I want to do my best to actually deal with these wolves from spawning range units towards the back. This way, they will actually move back and attack. It's important that you wait for them to cross before spawning. Otherwise, your units are going to start moving up, and then they have to move back. So just let the wolves come in, and then spawn units to deal with them. All right, so I spawned the archer on the right for the wolf. It has now moved up, and it's keeping that line of scrimmage there. I'm spawning a cleric here to keep these units alive. This sort of choke point on the left, this is like the worst thing in this match. This just lasts forever. So you want to have a defender up front, 2 ranged in the back, and a cleric on the left to keep them all alive, and you should be okay. So Zapdos has spawned on the right. I am spawning more range units to help take care of that. I don't want the line of scrimmage to move too far back. So I spawned a defense unit to sort of soak up some of that damage. And then we do have an AoE melee unit here. So got to be very, very mindful of that. That's why we have the defender in front to soak all that up alongside the cleric and the 2 range units. Even though that is not the correct counter, it's still enough to sort of waste enough time to allow the archers to whittle down those 2 units. All right, so the range unit on the right here is doing its darndest to take down the Zapdos. I'm going to spawn another range unit to sort of pepper it down. Unfortunately, those 2 units died while attacking the Condor on the right. We have a Helitrooper as well as a big dude. Spawn Barret right away to take out the big dude. He's going to deal a decent amount of damage to the Helitrooper, and then the rest of your units should be able to take that down. On the left side here, this is that same squad from the beginning. That's how long it lasts. That setup is so strong against this comp. All right, so Barret is going to start taking down that Condor. I really wish he would start helping out on these units, but he's going to focus on the Condor completely fine. I'm waiting for my timer to spawn here, and then I'm going to put out another Elite Vanguard. I am waiting for Cloud, waiting to spawn Cloud until the line of scrimmage pushes into the boss. This way, Braver attacks the boss. And then from here on out, just keep spawning units, but wait until he finishes Death Throes. Death Throes deals AoE damage to everybody, and the boss does not have a unit type, so it's going to deal a lot of damage to everybody. Wait for him to do Death Throes before you spawn more units, and then just spawn the rest of your stuff. Okay, the 4th and final board is in the Encampment Vestiges area. This is really hard. Okay, the combo is 1-2, Hero Unit 1, Ally Unit 2. I'm going to finish this with a lot of time on the clock, but I want you to know that it didn't always go this way. I tried this for like an hour. All right, so right away, we are going to spawn a Trebuchet. On hard mode, Trebuchets have a much shorter range, so you want to spawn that Trebuchet in front of the Condor and then spawn a Vanguard as well as a Cleric to keep it alive. The Trebuchet will begin to do work. It's not as strong as it is on normal mode, but that's okay. The Cleric will keep things alive. We're going to have 2 dogs spawning on the left, so we have to begin to take care of that. I'm just going to watch them come in. Again, I don't want to push units up into them. Otherwise, they're just going to move past them and have to walk back, and it wastes time. Okay, so I'm just letting the wolves attack this unit. I'm not concerned about it. And the reason is because my units on the right are going to begin advancing, and that's what's important to me. I spawn 1 attack unit on the left here to finish up the wolves, and then it begins attacking this archer. I'm going to spawn another attack unit on the left there. In truth, I probably should have put a defense unit there. That's okay. I'm going to put a new defense unit out here. This way the line of scrimmage stays. It's going to help me counter this melee unit here. The Trebuchet is still doing work, which is why it's so important to place it where I did. Okay, so spawning another defense unit there. That's going to start attacking the Condor on the right. I do have units on the left doing some decent work to this Condor over here. I'm going to spawn an Enforcer on the left to keep units moving there. This Trebuchet is going to sort of bite it. It's had its day in the sun. It did a lot of work for us, but it's time for it to begin to take damage. Okay, I'm going to place an Enforcer here. Sorry, actually, I was looking to place an Enforcer there, but I noticed that Cloud's meter is already full, so you spawn Cloud to get rid of the attack unit. You get some things in the front, and things begin to die. So spawn a Cleric for Cloud and this Archer. And then you'll notice that that 1 lone attack unit took down the left Condor and is starting to work on the boss. It's not going to get a whole lot done against the boss. It's going to eat it up really, really quick. That's completely fine. Okay, so now we got to move past this choke point on the right, spawn another attack unit. This big gargantuan dude has spawned. We'll take care of him a little later. I'm not terribly concerned. What we need to do now is kill this cleric. Luckily, it goes down in 1 arrow shot and 1 melee attack, and we're good. So we spawn another elite range unit to begin to take out this Condor on the right. The boss has spawned a Zapdos, so what I'm going to do now is just sort of begin to focus on this side here. I'm going to spawn Barra to take out the Zapdos and deal a lot of damage to this big dude here. And then I'm going to begin to place another Trebuchet in this exact spot that will lob boulders onto the boss. And then from here on, you want to be very, very careful with what you're spawning. The boss can cast Stop on units that are close to anybody in melee range. It will cast Stop on. So it's very important that you spawn range units back here. That Trebuchet does a lot of work. If all you have left is melee units, it's fine, but you can run into circumstances where the boss just has Stop cast and you can't really do much. So getting there with Cloud in the front to soak up damage, keep him in defense mode, and then have range units behind Cloud, along with maybe a cleric if it's still alive, will just take down the boss. But that's it. That's for Condor on hard mode in the Junon area. I do not know if there are other for Condor boards in the game. I only got 5 party XP for completing all 4. Thought that was, I figured it'd be a trophy at least, but not in Junon area. I'm assuming there's more for Condor to be played in the game. But that's it. I hope these strategies are helpful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. Don't forget to join the community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.